Right, Forest fans, Max Newton here on Talk Forest TV, giving you a quick preview of Nottingham Forest away at Bournemouth. On Talk Forest TV, hit that like, comment and subscribe button. Another shaping up to be a big game as we enter another run of games that people are saying, well, this is a run of difficult games for Nottingham Forest. It's going to be a real test of their early season Europe pretensions, or even top four pretensions. But you know what, they've said that 5-6 times so far this season, and we've come through those games with flying colours. We've had really difficult run of the game before Christmas that everybody predicting that was going to find us out, and it didn't. We've had difficult away games that people were predicting was going to find us out, and they didn't. And so we go into this game full of confidence. Big unbeaten run, 1 draw and 8 wins in a row or something like that. But equally, Bournemouth come into the game on the back of I think a 10-match unbeaten run, and everybody talking up Iriola, and they've got some good players. I think Kluivert, obviously had a really good game against Newcastle, scored a couple of cracking goals, but until then, he'd scored a lot of goals, but most of his goals had been penalties only. I think he scored 6 or 7, and all but 1 were penalties. Semenyo has looked really good so far this season, and they've got quite a few other good players there as well. But having said that, despite the fact that they won 4-1 away at Newcastle, they've got a lot of players out injured. They're having to play a lot of young players. Despite the fact that they're on a good run, despite the fact that they had a great win away at Newcastle, battered Newcastle, despite the fact that they were at home and they performed really well at home, I don't think there's anything to be afraid of, because Forest have got the form, the teamwork, the hard work, the firepower, and the man with the plan to get a really good result. I think it sounds like Callum Hudson-Odoi might not be fit, so I wonder whether it's too early for Danilo, or whether Danilo might come in, and maybe Danilo or Elliot Anderson might play on right wide midfield, albeit not a winger, or might bring in Jota Silva on that side instead of Callum Hudson-Odoi. So that'd be really interesting to see what Nuno does if Callum Hudson-Odoi isn't fit. Great to see Danilo on the bench, even if he doesn't start. But then again, maybe there's a place for James Ward-Prowse in that midfield as well. Obviously, the keeper and the back four pick themselves, and Wood picks himself, and Elanga and Morgan Gibbs-White have to start. And again, it's probably the question about whether it's Dominguez or Yates in midfield. I think the biggest dangers to Forest, as I said, a confident Bournemouth side with some really good players, in particular Kluivert and Semenyo. And probably one of the biggest dangers to Forest is the weather, causing the little Lego stadium to fall apart, and maybe the game get called off until they can get their players back from injury, which is the ploy they tried last time. There was a bit of a storm in the area. And but I expect Forest to come through and win the game. I'm going to predict 2-0 with goals from Chris Wood and I think Anthony Elanga. I think it'll be a good game. I think Forest will do what we've done so well, where we'll sit back and we'll let them have possession, and we'll lay the trap and we'll spring the trap, and I don't think they'll be able to cope with us. And I think our more experienced players will dominate the midfield. And obviously we're in a week where we're seeing lots of transfer talk around Forest. Absolutely fantastic to tie down, Chris Wood and Murillo onto longer term contracts. Ola Aina's next, and I expect Morgan Gibbs-White to be on a new contract before this transfer window's out as well. And I think that it secures their services. Nobody's talking to them. They're not going to go in the summer for free. So we protect the assets. We also prevent the team from being disrupted or players' heads being turned. But also, I think it's a bit of a case of getting players secured on longer term, more profitable contracts for the players, ahead of bringing in some real quality Obviously, bids going in for Wissa and Cunha. And I've seen people on other podcasts saying Cunha's not going to happen, it's unrealistic. Cunha wants to leave, the manager wants to get rid of him. He's got an asking price, and Forest are willing to meet that asking price. He shares the same agent with Morato, I believe. Forest are going places, and if it comes to Forest, he's got a really, really good chance of playing Champions League football and being right, in the starting lineup or very close to the starting lineup. I think if he goes to somewhere else like Arsenal, Chelsea, he might play Europe, but might be a long way away from the starting lineup. So we can, I think there's a really, really good chance of getting him, and I think it'd be a fantastic signing. I wouldn't be surprised if we end this January transfer window with both Wissa and Cunha in the side. They both can play centre forward, back up for Chris Wood, and play when Chris Wood's not available. But also they can play all across the front line. So they're really, really dangerous players, proven Premier League players, and that's what we need. And you know what? We're in this position where we can get Champions League football. If we stick with the same group of players, we might not be in this position again next year. If we seek to grow with just getting young starlets that we turn into great players and we can sell on, like Murillo, or amazing free transfers like Ola Aina. I don't think that is where we're at right now. I think we're at a situation where we can secure Champions League football and we absolutely burst through a glass ceiling for this football club. I really recommend an article in the Evening Post, Nottinghamshire Online, by Dave Powell, where he just goes through the amount of extra revenue and income that Forest would get if they finished in the top four and qualified for the Champions League, in terms of Premier League prize money, Champions League prize money, better sponsorship money, more match day revenue by having I think 8 more games, increased merchandise sales, and so on and so on. So the opportunity is tremendous for Forest to really, really take us to the next level. And I think the managers, the owner, is ambitious, as we know, and he's going to grasp this opportunity and go for it. So, if spending 90 million on Wissa and Cunha is going to do that and put us in the position, he's going to go for it. It's my opinion. He's going to go for it. So yeah, exciting times. Come on, you Reds.